I've invested this much time and this much money into it. I'm going to make this work, because if I don't, been a complete waste of time. I've done all of this for nothing. So it's a mixture of a little bit of that and a little bit of just pure stubbornness.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another TFT interview. Today, I have the pleasure to host Sean, who comes from Louisiana. Welcome, Sean.
Hi, great to speak with you.
It's my pleasure to have you here. So can you first tell us a little bit about yourself and what got into trading?
Sure. Well, my name's Sean. I'm 36 years old. I live in Louisiana. I've got a beautiful wife and two beautiful children.
Oh, nice.
And they're the reason that I trade and try to do the best that I can with this. And there's sort of the reason also why I got into trading a little bit. I work a 9-to-5 job. I'm still at that job. And to give you a little bit of background, it's a very niche job, one that doesn't have a whole lot of opportunities in my area. And back in, I think it was 2018, we had an opportunity coming up to be contracted by another business. And it was a big opportunity for me to really advance in the company and sort of grow my position, grow my pay, et cetera, et cetera. I did a lot of groundwork trying to secure this contract and trying to do the best that I can to help the business grow. I got the phone call and my bosses told me, hey, business decided to go with another contractor. Super sorry, but that's the best we can do. So I'm stuck doing the same thing that I've been normally doing. No real opportunities on the horizon for advancement. If I wanted to try and advance my career, I'd probably have to move out of state. I'm already locked down here. My wife is in nursing school and I'm about to have my first kid. So I'm sitting at work and I'm trying to figure out, all right, I got to have a backup plan. I got to find out what I'm going to do to start making some more money, because I got to really provide for my family. Yeah. And so I stumbled across trading on YouTube, like a lot of people have. And it was a video of this guy who didn't know anything about trading, just like me. And he was going to try to teach himself trading and trade with $1,000 for a week and see what happened. He didn't end up making a whole lot of money, but it kind of got me interested in trading. And so from there, I kind of went down the rabbit hole on YouTube, and the algorithm kept suggesting more trading videos for me. And I kept diving deeper into it. Yeah. And that's how I got started. And so I decided to open up a Robinhood account and start trading stocks.
Interesting. So can you tell us a little bit about the learning curve? Did you have mentors? Did you join communities? Did you learn everything by yourself? How was the learning process?
Right. So the majority of it I learned through watching different videos on YouTube. I did start out in a small group in the very beginning just to kind of learn the basics. And I did pay a fee for it. It wasn't too much. It's like maybe $200. But I learned a lot of the basic retail trading methodologies, learned what candlesticks are, support and resistance, all that kind of thing. And it gave me a little bit of an introduction. Wasn't the best, but wasn't the worst. Yeah. I didn't stay there for very long. And so then I kind of continued looking through YouTube, trying to find consistency, trying to find a good strategy that really resonated with me. Yeah. And I traded everything under the sun. I traded stocks, options, futures, Forex, cryptocurrency, everything, you name it. I tried it to really try to find what worked for me. Yeah. And then eventually, it was only last year, I was really getting to be kind of disheartened with the whole process, because I wasn't really profitable, but I wasn't losing too much. I was kind of just like break even at that point. Yeah. And then I came across someone on YouTube. His name's Paul McGee, and he kind of became my mentor. And so I watched his videos and learned his trading style. And I was like, wow. And what he does is he does a lot of back testing on YouTube and really just goes through it bar by bar, no BS, and shows you how he trades. And I was like, wow, if I can just trade half as good as this guy, I'll be doing great. And so I studied his videos and I tried to put it into practice. And it was around July of last year, 2022, when I passed my first prop firm challenge using his method. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. And so I reached out to him. I said, hey, man, I really appreciate what you're doing, the content that you're putting out. I just want to let you know I passed my first prop firm and it's all thanks to you. And he got back to me and he was very, very appreciative and was super friendly, and he invited me to sort of be a part of his group. And so since then, he's been mentoring me, and I've been learning more with him in his Discord group. And from there, that's pretty much where I started to become profitable. So he really helped me out in my journey with Forex.
That's so amazing, so interesting. So you just run into his video, and you try to implement the strategies that he was teaching. How long did it take you to kind of like absorb what he was teaching, the model that?
A lot. His videos are long. They're 30 minutes, 40 minutes to an hour, sometimes more. Yeah. So it took a long time. I was really studying everything, just watching them several times, and then going and taking that information and going myself and back testing and trying it out and getting the data and really seeing that, okay, this can work. Yeah. And so then I implemented it on my challenges and in my trading. I guess something just kind of clicked, and it all kind of went from there.
That's so amazing. And what are the things that you struggled with the most? Was it to find the right strategy? Was it mental issues like FOMO, greed? What were the things that you struggled with the most, and how did you overcome those struggles?
Right. So a little bit of everything. I would say probably my biggest problem was strategy hopping. Like I talked about before, I was going through YouTube trying to find something that worked. And what worked for those people didn't necessarily work for me. They might be profitable with it, but I sure as heck wasn't. So I strategy hopped a lot. And maybe with some of those, if I had stuck with it, I could have found consistency, but it just wasn't working for me. And so I was like, I would try it for a little bit and I'd say, oh, this is not working. Let's move on to something else. What else can I find? And so that was one thing I really struggled with. 4 years, just hopping between different strategies, trying everything out. And ever since I found Paul's videos, I've stuck with this strategy for a full year, and I've never looked back. So that was one big issue. I've had, other small issues that all traders have. FOMO is a big one. Wanting always. So when I first started out, I thought that if I wasn't involved in a trade, or if I wasn't actively looking at the market and looking for a trade, then I was losing money, or I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. I figured, you need to be involved in the market if you want to be doing something and getting the most out of your time. And that's really not the case at all. You don't always need to be involved in the market. You don't always need to be looking at the charts and analyzing them. Sometimes staying out of the market is the best thing you can do. So that was another thing that I really struggled with. Chasing losses, trying to revenge trade. That's another one that I still struggle with sometimes. So there's still things that absolutely I can work on and improve upon. But those were some of the major struggles that I dealt with when I was starting out. Yeah,
I believe that there won't be a time that when we're going to be perfect. There will be always something to work on.
For sure. Absolutely.
And we're human beings. Those emotions can be triggered anytime. It's just important to recognize them on time and act differently. What are the failures that you cherish the most?
Probably that I cherish the most. Probably blown accounts. They're a big lesson. Like every trader is going to blow an account at some point in time. And it's really a gut punch. It's a real big reality check. You need to really take a good hard look at yourself and really examine, what is it I'm doing wrong that I got to this point where I've blown this account. Usually a lot of the times you're risking too much. You're just putting too much risk on the table, or you're over trading, and that will kill your account so quick. That, especially if you're trading options, that's a really great way to blow an account. So I think those are always good lessons to learn from. If you blow an account, take a step back, really examine, why did this happen? What did I do? What did I do wrong for this to happen? And really, any loss that you take is a learning opportunity. As long as you follow the strategy and the plan that you have set out, a loss is still a win in my book. Because if you followed your strategy, you know the win rate, you know what to expect when trying to implement the strategy. If it's a loss and you followed everything correctly, it's still a win. And those are still good. So those are some of your best losses. As long as you follow the strategy, you're doing fine.
Yeah. Something that it's good that you mentioned, because they are bad wins and they're good losses.
Absolutely.
If you press the button and you got a lucky winner on news release, this is not a good win.
For sure. And I've been there before.
Yeah.
I've been there before too. You know, I've tried revenge trading, and sometimes it works out and you're like, oh, awesome. You know, like I made back what I lost, but it's not good. It's not a good win. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Because you didn't stick to a plan. You just impulsively got into the market.
Exactly. Yeah.
You got lucky and it worked out.
Yeah.
And those are the bad wins.
Yeah, definitely. What are the skills that you had to develop to become a profitable and consistent trader?
So I always used to think, or I thought of myself as very patient. And when I started training, I learned very quickly that I'm not as patient as I thought I was. I had to learn patience. Discipline is a big one. Discipline in sticking to your plan, sticking to your strategy. Learning the skill of backtesting, I think, is also very important. It's a little bit of a skill, like knowing how to backtest and how to really analyze previous market data is a good thing to know, because that's going to really tell you if your strategy is going to work for you or not.
Yeah.
That's going to give you the data that you can work off of, so that when you take those losses, you know, okay, not a big deal. As part of the plan, I know I'm going to take X amount of losses, or I can expect X amount of losses in this plan. And as long as I keep trading it, I know it's going to be profitable in the end. So knowing how to backtest and gather that data is a great skill to have, and something I wish I was better at starting out, because that would have saved me a lot of time. So
would you like to share, like, what are the things that you usually do when you're backtesting? What are the things that you're looking at? Yeah.
So when I'm backtesting, I will typically use the bar by bar replay on TradingView. I like that the best because you can't see the candles ahead of where you're looking at. Yeah. You're taking it one by one essentially, and you're going through it as you would if you were trading live. Yeah. You can just go a little bit quicker, which is kind of nice. Yeah. Definitely doing that. And if you want to, a little bit later, I can show you a little bit how I backtest on TradingView. If you want to get into it, we can definitely do that. And you can see exactly how I go through and what I look for and what I analyze. Yeah. And it's a little bit how I try to, when I'm backtesting, I'm trying to trade how I would if I were trading a live market. Yeah, yeah. I try to replicate that as much as possible. Yeah,
by paying attention to fundamentals as well and everything.
Yeah, you definitely want to be on the lookout for news events, because that's can really mess you up and cause a lot of slippage and blow accounts too. For me, my trading style is not so much fundamentals, but more mechanical trading and technicals. Right, exactly. So I don't pay attention too much to news, but I do want to know what's happening, when it's happening, when news is, because definitely when news is being dropped, I want to be either closing my positions or taking off my orders. I don't want to be involved in news at all, because it can really mess up your account. Yeah, definitely. I totally agree.
You can maybe share a screen already now, and we can go through, you can show us how you analyze the charts in an example of a trade, or just an example of how you backtest.
Sure, exactly. I'll do that.
I use FX Replay for backtesting. It's such a good
FX Replay is, I've heard it's good.
It's amazing. I love it. It's the best tool I've ever used for backtesting, to be honest. Because you can't go back. You can't cheat. It's
what's that?
You cannot go back. You cannot cheat the numbers. And it's showing very detailed statistics for everything. Which session is most profitable? Which pair is most profitable? You can see how many trades per week, per month you're getting in average. What is your average risk to reward? What is your average win rate? What is the biggest risk to reward you've caught? What is the biggest loss you've made? Things like that.
That's great.
It's amazing.
Yeah, because normally with TradingView, you have to enter all that data in manually on a separate journal or whatever. That's nice that it tracks it for you. Yeah. So you don't have to take the extra time and input it everything manually.
Exactly.
That's cool. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it. So I might try that out at some point.
Yeah. I usually give it as a tip to everyone. I love it. It's the best tool used for backtesting.
All right. So we're going to be going through the previous week of EU, which starts on Monday. So we're going to go back. We're going to go back to Friday, because I do like to look at a top-down analysis. So we're going to go to the daily. All I'm looking at when I go to the daily is I'm trying to figure out what the market direction is for the daily time frame. Right now it is bullish. It just recently broke this high, so obviously we're bullish. I just kind of want to know the bias of what I'm going into. This would be my low. It would need to break this low if we were going to flip bearish. We do the same thing for the 4 hour. I'm gonna delete these. 4 hour, clearly bullish. We've had this huge push up right here. So not too much else to garner from that. If I were looking to see where it would flip bearish from, it would be this point right here for me when analyzing market structure. So if it crosses this and breaks this, I know that the 4 hour has flipped bearish.
Yeah.
But for right now, it's bullish. So whenever I do my top-down analysis, I just want to know, okay, is the daily bullish? Is the daily bearish? 4 hour bullish, bearish? Gives me kind of a bias when I'm going into the 15-minute. And I really only mainly trade the 15-minute and the 4 hour. So let's go back down to the 15-minute now. So this was Friday. We're going to skip ahead some, get into Sunday. So this is Sunday. This is market open going into next week. Now, we just had a huge run on previous week, large bullish run. A lot of times what happens after large pushes, whether it's a bullish or bearish, is you have a lot of consolidation. I try to avoid consolidation as much as possible because this is just choppy and it's going to chop you up. I'm expecting, even though the daily is bullish and the 4 hours bullish, normally I would want to trade pro trend, so bullish on the 15-minute as well. However, since we just had that huge push up and we just broke that recent high on the daily, I am expecting some kind of pullback.
Yeah.
So that's likely what is going to happen after this consolidation, but we're going to see. I won't get involved with the consolidation because I don't like to trade that choppiness. So let's just see what happens. So we're going to go down here. It's recently broken this high right here. So 15-minute, still bullish. Flip, if we were looking for a flip bearish, we're looking for that low to be broken. Let's continue. Okay. So now that low is broken. What happened here, I can see that there was a bit of a liquidity sweep.
Yes.
We swept that high, came crashing back down. Now we've broken below this one. Let's see what happens. And it's also swept liquidity down here. So still choppy. I'm still not super excited about getting involved right here because it swept the high, swept the low, big, strong bullish bar coming back. I'm waiting. I'm sitting out. This is a part we talked about with patience. You don't always need to get involved every single second of the day.
Yeah.
So let's continue. Okay. So right then it was kind of in that middle zone, not really good to trade from. Now it's broken higher. Okay, so we've flipped bullish again. As it's broken this high, we're gonna watch it and possibly look for some bullish trades. Broken this structure. So we just continue along measuring the structure. Okay, so now it's flipped bearish. We're breaking out of a range and now we're flipping bearish. Like I said before, I'm expecting a pullback. So I'm fine taking a counter trend trade. And when I say counter trend trade, I mean counter to the daily and the 4 hour.
Yeah.
But this is going to be pro trend on the 15-minute because we've broken this low. The way I trade, and I'm going to give a brief overview of it now, is I trade order blocks. So I'm going to do a quick drawing of what an order block looks like. When the market's moving, it's moving up in these patterns. It zigzags when it's trending. Same thing when it's moving down. The order blocks that I'm looking to trade from, order blocks are going to be traded from here. You can see it comes back into the zone. I trade from those, that sort of last push down before it continues up.
Yeah.
Same thing if we were going bearish, last push up before it continues down. So take it from here. Sometimes it doesn't reach, sometimes it does. But anyway, that's basically my method of trading. So we've got a push up here. So I use the Gone box, I guess is what they call it, basically to mark out levels for my order block. And I always put pending trades on the 25% bar right here. So 25% of the order block. Okay. If I'm trading bearish, it's going to be from this one right here. If we're trading bullish, it's going to be from this one right here. So hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to put an order on right here for right now. I'm not going to do it for every order block that I mark up, just to save time. But we're going to put one there and we're going to see if we get tagged in on this move. And generally, I will try to put my targets down at the most recent low. So let's see if we get tagged in. Okay, so that one was broken. Yeah. Not a problem. We took a loss there. That's okay. So we're going to set that over here, put up the chart and continue forward. So now I'm looking for this low to be broken. It's pushing down pretty hard. Let's keep going. Okay, that one was broken. We're going to try again. Same thing. Now, this one doesn't have a super clean order block because this is kind of the push up, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it from here. Because this was kind of the last push up. If you flip down to a lower time frame, you'd see probably a more clean order block. But that's the one I'm going to take it from. We're going to put a short here and lower our stop loss just to just above. We're going to continue forward and see if we get tagged in. So we got tagged in there. And like I said, with my targets, that one was a quick one. So I think that was probably a news event, but that's fine. When we're doing back testing, we take that into account too. So tag in there, our take profit would have been down here at the most recent low because we're expecting this low to be broken since we flipped bearish.
Yeah.
So that's a win right there. Perfect. This big wick right there, I'm not going to be looking at that for an order block. That's a huge wick, not super clean. So I'm not really looking to trade off of that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, since the 4 hour is bullish, I would probably take something off of this. I'm going to mark it up anyway, even though I didn't mark it before. Pardon me, I'm trying to go through this a little bit quickly. But I probably would have marked that up. And even though 15-minute is bearish, 4 hours still bullish. So I still would try to trade off.
Yeah.
So this would have been a tag in right there, 15 pip stop loss. We would target the highs up here. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. We're tagged into it. Let's keep going and see how it works out. This is also another order block here for the bearish case. We're going to mark that up. Okay. We'll see if we get tagged into something here. Didn't quite touch our 25% mark, so we're not tagged in yet. And we broke in this now. So this is a loss here. That's fine. Not a problem. We know we're going to take losses. And we're still continuing bearish. This has also formed another good order block. Now, sometimes when I've got two order blocks pretty close to each other, I will split the risk. So normally I'll risk 1%. If I've got two right here, sometimes I'll just split it as 0.5% for this, 0.5% for this. It really depends on how the structure's going. For this instance, and for the sake of this back testing, I'm just going to leave it at 1% for both, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if we get tagged in. So that one was a clear tag out. That was a loss. So we're going to put that down there, and that's okay. But we are also tagged in here on this one. So we're going to mark that, and we're going to mark our stop loss there.
So you use limit orders.
Yes, a lot of times limit orders. Some of my best trades are when I'm sleeping.
That's
no joke. Like I will set a limit order. I'll examine the market before Asian session. Yeah. I'll set my limit orders, go to bed. Sometimes I'll wake up and it's hit my order and hit my take profit, and I made money while sleeping. So those are some of my best trades. Yeah, but yeah, I do use limit orders a lot for these. Very rarely will I get in with a market order. Most of the time, I can analyze the order blocks before anything happens, and I can just set my limits and let it play out. So anyway, we're in this trade now. This is our take profit. Let's see how this one plays out. It's coming back up. A lot of times it will retest. Now, one thing I will say, I never ever, because see, it went into profit a little bit here, but then it came back to retest that order block again. And one of the reasons why I really like this one, and I'll get into that in a second, but I never move my stop loss to break even. Every single time I've done that, that's exactly what happens. Is it'll go into profit, then it'll come back, and a lot of times it'll just shoot right off into my take profit, and so I'm left in the dust with
nothing. Yeah.
So yeah, just a general rule of thumb for me. I don't move my stop losses to break even. Also, when I'm fixing up my pending orders, I do not do a stop loss of less than 5 pips. 5 pips is my minimum when trading the 15. Most of the times the order blocks are larger than that, but sometimes they're smaller. Yeah. And so if that's the case, I'll just extend the stop loss to above 5 pips. Yeah. If you're trading the 1 minute or the 5 minutes, sometimes you can have some real tight stop losses, but I don't do that. I only trade the 15-minute. Anyway, one reason why I like this is along here, there's a lot of liquidity and then an order block right here. So I like it a lot of times when there's liquidity building and then an order block before it, because a lot of times the price will shoot kind of like it did here, sweeping all that liquidity and then take off down to our take profit. So let's see if that's what we get here. Boom, right here. So we take our profit right here. That's another good 4.5 to 1. This one was a good 6.7 to 1. This one's fine for an order block. I like this because it's got imbalance after it, which is always good. We're not going to mark anything up. Okay, so we got tagged in and tagged out real quick like that. That happens sometimes, not a problem. So we mark our short there, and that's another loss. So currently got 1, 2, 3 losses, 2 wins, but we're still up.
Yeah.
So let's keep
going.
going.
I can see like you get a lot of opportunities with this strategy.
Exactly. There's a lot of opportunities. Here's another good order block that I just completely missed. We're going to mark that up because it's coming. It's coming up to here. So we're going to mark it up just in case. I'm going to try to clean this up a little bit. So if we know if it hits that 25% mark, we're going to be in an order. And that's where I would have it sitting. And so let's see if it comes up. Doesn't seem like it's going to make it. That's okay. And back down again. And completely left us behind. Not a problem. We're going to keep going. You probably also could have marked up some of these as order blocks, but that's more trading internal structure. Yeah. And it's not something I do a whole lot. You could have, but there are some other, you can see some other good opportunities to get involved in different order blocks. Another one's formed here. Don't know if it's going to make it up to that, but we'll mark it anyway. And we'll keep going. Right now we're on Thursday, so we're almost done with the week. Here's another opportunity for an order block. I'm going to mark that up. Boom. I
remember this one got tapped on Monday.
Yeah. Coming up
to with the news.
And there it goes. So we didn't quite reach it. So we don't always make it to our order blocks, but that's okay. I have seen some people mark up this entire move as an order block, but it just depends on your personal preference, really. Yeah. I like to do this and refine it a little bit more. Sometimes when you refine it a little bit more, you don't get tagged in. Yeah. That's all right. Not a problem. I would also probably mark this up as our next spot of interest. Okay, this low is just broken. Got some imbalance here. I would mark probably this one because that's sort of the last kind of push. Okay, so we're tagged into that one. Like I said before, I use a 5 pip stop loss. So let's move it up to 5 pips right there. And let's see what happens. Almost took us out and straight into a take profit. Not a problem. 4.3. Now we're on Friday. This is generally when I don't like to take trades. That would probably be my last one because going into weekend, I don't like to hold trades over the weekend. Yeah. So that would probably be it. So let's just review what we've got here and mark up wins and losses. So we're going to do, we've got -1 there.
Do you have like a minimum requirement for the risk to reward?
Yes. So generally, if it's, I like to look for 1 to 3s. If it's a 1 to 2, I'm probably not going to take it unless there's some other reason there. It's like, oh, wow, this really looks good. 1 to 3 is kind of what I'm shooting for. Yeah. What I generally get most is 1 to 4s, 1 to 5s, sometimes 1 to 6s. And maybe a little bit higher than that. But I think kind of the sweet spot is 1 to 4, 1 to 5 is really what I'm shooting for. And then one more win over here. In total, we've got 4 losses, 3 wins. And let me pull up my calculator. 6.71 plus 4.52 plus 4.3 minus 4. That's an 11.53% week.
That's what
if you're risking 1%.
Yeah.
And that's just following a very basic market structure strategy, trading off the order blocks that you see.
Yeah.
And looking at sort of the overall bias in the market.
Yeah. It's very,
and so that's my strategy.
That's amazing. Like we got an amazing breakdown, and it was really good that people can see like how you're backtesting so that they can try it out. And maybe this is going to be the next strategy for someone else as well.
Maybe. I hope so. Like I said, hopefully this backtest helps some people. Like just go through it bar by bar. I went through it a little bit quicker than I normally do, just for the sake of time. So people can see. But yeah, normally I'm clicking through real slowly and just analyzing. And like I said, there's probably some opportunities here that I might have missed trading internal structure. Yeah. But for just trading the very obvious, very clear order blocks, 11%, that's a challenge passed. Yeah. That on a 100K account, that's 11K. Yeah. That's not bad for 1 week.
That's amazing. That's incredible. You wish for better. Is there anything that you wish that you did sooner that would make the journey smoother?
Yeah, kind of going what I said before is learning how to backtest. I wish I had really dug deep into that sooner, and not just backtesting, but gathering data from your backtests, marking it down, writing it down, so you really can see what your win rate's going to be. So like, okay, this strategy is going to be profitable. Because what I was doing, I was strategy hopping a lot. So I'd find something new that I'd like and I'd try it out, test it out on a live account, of course, for a little bit. And I'd get maybe some wins and then some loses. And after a week or 2 weeks, sometimes maybe a little bit more than that, I'd be like, okay, I'm not profitable with this. This isn't working. Let me find something else. And so if I learned earlier on how to backtest and how to gather that data and analyze it, and look at it compared with the strategy and see, okay, is this working? What's my edge like? What can I expect out of the market in a week, in a month? How many losses can I expect? And how many losses can I expect in a row? Once you get that data and once you understand all that, then you know what to expect with your strategy. And if it's not performing to the historical data that you've collected for the strategy, if you're getting more losses in a row or you're not making the percentages or around the percentages that you normally would, you can take a step back in your live trading and say, okay, why is that happening? And sort of reassess from there.
Yeah, definitely. What is the most memorable moment in your trading? Was there any moment when you felt that everything just clicked and like a big aha moment, eye-opening?
Probably the most memorable moment for me would be passing my first prop firm challenge. That was such a good feeling, working that hard and passing that challenge and getting that funded account. It was like, wow, this is possible. This is possible. Like things are happening for me. This can actually work. Like I can actually like do it. And so that was kind of like a really like big light switch moment. Like, wow, like this is working. I can actually do this. And from there, it's just been, wonderful. Since then I've passed maybe 10 prop firm challenges. Amazing. So it's just been working out phenomenally. And that really cemented me in this particular strategy. Like, okay, this is what I should stick with. And so that's what I've been sticking with.
That's amazing. You mentioned that like 4 years, you didn't see any profitability. Were there moments when you started like doubting yourself or you believed that you can make it? And what kept you coming back and continuing to seek for the right thing for you?
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much doubt that goes through your mind as a trader, especially in the early years when you're not profitable. You're like, man, you get a lot of doubt. You think to yourself like, man, I'm really not cut out for this. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. And even still, I feel a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like, what, am I really doing this? Am I really like actually making money now? Like, how am I doing that? But yeah, there was absolutely a lot of times of doubt. And what kept me going was probably a little bit of sunken cost fallacy where I was like, okay, I've invested this much time and this much money into it. I'm going to make this work because if I don't, it's been a complete waste of time. I've done all of this for nothing. So it's a mixture of a little bit of that and a little bit of just pure stubbornness. Which worked out for me, thankfully. Now, I will say, like, before I discovered the strategy that I'm using right now, and before I had passed my first prop firm challenge, I was probably on the edge of quitting. I was like, okay, if I can't do this now, I just don't think it's going to work. I may have been at my limit, but thankfully I pushed through and I managed to find what worked for me and what was profitable. And so I was very, very close to just giving it up and quitting. But it's a good lesson because there might be people out there right now on the verge of quitting and they might not know, like they could be just a week or 2 weeks or a month away from really having that light bulb go off and becoming profitable and really taking their trading to the next level. You might just be right there. You just got to keep going. And so, just don't quit, just keep pushing through because that's what I did. And I managed to find what was successful for me in the nick of time.
That's amazing. I believe that many traders that are struggling now got hope. And it's really important to just stick to something and evaluate what you're doing and think
for sure
what to improve, not just to do things. Because I think that many people make a mistake by just doing without trying to evaluate and understand what is going wrong. How did trading change different aspects of your life? Like, how did it influence different aspects of your life?
Learning about the markets in general, learning about what's happening in the financial sector and stock market. It was kind of nice because I never really paid attention to that before. I don't come from a financial background. I have a bachelor's in biology. I work with animals. So like the financial realm is completely foreign to me. I never really knew anything about that beforehand. And so when I started trading and when I started learning about stocks and indices and futures and Forex, it kind of opened my mind a little bit to that world. And so I started understanding more and learning a little bit more. And it's good. It's good to know some of that stuff. To know a little bit more about what's going on with your money, get a little bit wiser financially, and to plan for your future a little bit more. So it kind of helped out with that a little bit more. So now, and I found it very interesting. I never thought I would. I always thought numbers and financial stuff, that was kind of boring. I was more interested in other stuff. But now that I've actually started doing this kind of thing, I'm reading like balance sheets and, quarterly reports for companies. I'm like, wow, this is fascinating. And it's really not, but I find it interesting because, I'm in this and doing this. And I think a lot of people who are in trading can feel that way. You get passionate about it, and you really have to have a passion to do it because it's can be mind-numbingly boring. Like I was just doing, like going through the charts for hours and testing things and journaling. It can get really boring, but you have to have a passion for it. And I found out that I really do. And I really learned that I like this kind of thing. So I find all of it interesting now.
Yeah, that's amazing. Do you have a daily routine that you're sticking to?
Well, like I said before, I've got 2 young children. One of them is 1-year-old and one of them is 5-year-old. Okay. So routines are routines are very difficult in the morning. Getting them out of the house is a win for me, and they're fully dressed. So getting them where they need to go is a win. Kind of like what I showed in my back test. I like to do a top-down analysis, and I try to do that every day. A lot of times it will happen in the evenings after everybody's gone to bed. I'll sit down. I'll have a little bit of quiet time. I can sort of focus with some peace and quiet and look at the charts, go over things, mark up what I need to if I see any good opportunities, set my pending orders. And then when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I check it. Also set up alerts too. Something very, very handy on TradingView. You can set alerts. So if a price is approaching a point of interest for you or approaching an order you've got set, I set those alerts. And so I can check my phone in the morning. I can see if any alerts went off. I can look at the market and just give it a brief overview in the morning, getting everything started with my day and getting my kids up and getting everybody ready and out the door, which is it's kind of nice that you can do that. So it's a very sort of laid back approach. I don't have a real set routine, but just trading the 15-minute and the 4-hour allows me to check every once in a while, set my orders, and I don't have to be looking at it every moment of the day. I can focus on my kids. I can focus on my work and get that stuff done and check it periodically.
Yeah. That's amazing. And that can be an advice for people that are struggling to find their time. Maybe you just have to go to a higher time frame and adapt the strategy according to your schedule. How did you find TFT and how is your experience with us?
I've researched a lot of prop firms. Obviously, the bigger ones, FTMO, my Forex funds. TFT is right up there now with them. Y'all are doing fantastic with that, and y'all are really leaders in the market now. Ever since y'all introduced unlimited trading days, guess what happened right after that? My Forex funds and FTMO followed you right after that. So y'all are leaders. Y'all are market leaders now in that, which is great. So I was doing a lot of research, trying to look into different prop firms. FTMO, interestingly enough, I was about to do a challenge with them, but they have suspended traders who live in 5 states, Louisiana being one of them, from trading with them. So I cannot get an FTMO account. I don't know why. I reached out to them to ask them what's up with that. They couldn't give me a solid answer. So as far as I'm concerned, they're nothing now. So I'm glad I found TFT because y'all have been fantastic. Your prices are better. Your challenges are better. As far as I'm concerned, everything about y'all is better than FTMO in every single way. So I just did a lot of research, just like looking into, okay, what are the top prop firms? What are the lists of them? And I found a lot, some good, some bad as far as prop firms go. I've had some fantastic experiences like with y'all, and I've had some really bad experiences with some other prop firms as well.
So I hope you didn't get scammed.
No, I didn't get scammed. I can go into it a little bit. There are 2 prop firms that I've tried out and I've passed challenges with. with who have been not great. I don't know if I would call them a scam because I did eventually get payouts from them, but they are not ones I would ever work with again, and I do not trade with them.
I'm glad that you had a great experience with us. And that should be also a takeaway for people that are taking challenges, to double check and ask other people that try to join communities, ask other people how their experiences are in order to know if it's a good one or not one.
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to try out some of these other little ones, was so I could see, okay, are they legit?
Yeah.
Are they going to pay you out? Are there any hidden rules? Or are there any shady practices? So I can share that information with everyone else, because part of our group, I'm like, hey, don't go with these guys. Don't buy any challenges from them because XYZ.
Yeah.
I did that so I could share that information with people, because everybody should know, like, you can go to Trustpilot. It's hard to even trust that sometimes because of the things that they're doing to get those reviews, those positive reviews.
Yeah.
So like, you really do need kind of a firsthand experience from someone who has traded with them or who has tried them out to really know for sure. And those were just awful experiences. So I'm glad I can hopefully help people avoid some of those shadier businesses and don't trade with them.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing it with us. Before we finish up, what are the plans forward? And do you have any last words that you would like to share with us?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the plan going forward is just to continually increase my funding, increase my capital. I'm looking forward to maxing out my funding capital with y'all. That's sort of the next goal. And then from there, who knows, maybe I'll show up on the leaderboard and can
fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Make some more profit. Yeah. At the end of the day, if I could share a little bit of advice for any of the traders out there who are just starting their journey or who are in the middle of their journey. And I've heard a lot of good advice from a lot of the interviews you've done in the past. But one thing I think that's not really said enough is don't compare yourself to other traders. When you're watching these interviews, don't look at that person and be like, man, why am I not there? What takes someone 1 year or 2 years might take someone else 3 or 4 years. Even though we as traders experience very, very similar things, we all experience these emotions. We all, lose money at one point in time. We all blow accounts. Yeah. We all experience very, very similar things. Every single trader's journey is very individualized. Everybody has their own journey and their own process that they have to go through to get to a point where they're profitable. Yeah. So don't look at other traders and judge yourself based on them. Just judge yourself based on your performance. Really look at your performance. When you're trading in the market, you can't control the market. There's no way you can control the market. Focus on what you can control when you're entering trades. Yeah. If you're moving your stop loss, if you're revenge trading, if you're risking too much, focus on the things that you can control, because there's no way you're going to be able to control the market. Nobody can control the market. So focus on those things and don't focus on other people and where they are in their journey, because what they've been through is probably very different from what you've been through. And everybody learns in their own way. Everybody takes their own time in learning. And so just keep your head up and don't feel bad if somebody is in a better place than you and they've done it in less time or more time, or they're just doing better. It's a recipe for disaster when you try to compare yourself to others like that. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And that's why I mentioned, before we started with the interview, social media is so toxic. Don't follow what people are. Exactly. And don't compare yourself to them. Never compare yourself, because this is, it leads to self-sabotaging. You start seeing down on yourself. And as soon as you start with your negative self-talk, it's going to ruin everything that you're doing. Thank you for sharing your story with us. I believe that the audience is going to get so many gems from this interview. You shared so many good advices. Yeah, I hope that we're going to have a follow-up interview in the near future when you hit the maximum allocation and you get more payouts. And until then, trade safe and good luck with everything. Excellent. Thank you for having me. Thanks to you too. And to all of you watching, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let me know in the comments if you're curious about questions that I'm not asking about. Trade safe, and until next time.